Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
This was using the merits of both top-down and bottom-up parsing. So the way it works is that if I have a sentence, people laugh loudly, then we concentrate on the positions 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. 1 is before the first word, and 4 is after the last word. And between the two words, we have different positions. So the way it works is that we first put down the basic rule. Sentence goes to noun phrase and verb phrase, indicating thereby that a sentence is composed of noun phrase and verb phrase. The whole parsing process is controlled by the dot, which is also called handle in compilers. So the dot indicates the work to be done, which is in front of it, and the work completed, which is behind this. So in top-down, bottom-up parsing, the dot symbol also brings in other rules by transitive closure. Now, noun phrase goes to determiner and noun, so it brings that rule on the chart. And noun phrase can also be expanded as noun, so that also brings another rule. Now, these three dots and things in front of them indicate that we have to find a noun or a determiner and a noun phrase. Now, people is there in the input, so people gets resolved as noun from the dictionary. Or if the part of speech tagging has been done, this brings up noun. So since noun has been found, noun phrase also has been found. Since noun phrase has been found, the dot moves over noun phrase and shows that now the work of verb phrase has to be done. By transitive closure, the rules for verb phrase also come onto the chart. Verb and adverb and only verb. Now at this point, we need to find a verb. So laugh provides that token, which is from the sentence. So the handle goes over verb and a verb phrase has been found. So that finishes the sentence. The control goes to the starting symbol S, which means there is a sentential structure in the input, but it has not finished the input yet. So the rule that is now applicable is V ADV dot sitting between V and ADV. So we have to find an adverb. So adverb has been found. Loudly is adverb shown by part of speech tag or directly from the dictionary. So we have found a verb phrase, we have found a noun phrase before, now a verb phrase also found. The input is over, start symbol S has been reached, and therefore the parsing process completes with success. Parsing indicates whether a sentence belongs to the language or not. Is it grammatical or not? So that's a yes/no question. As a side effect, we obtain the parse tree. So this is called top-down, bottom-up because if you look at the second chart, people is resolved as noun and noun phrase is resolved, but then verb phrase gets exposed, and by transitive closure, verb phrase rules are brought in. So this is both bottom-up and top-down. So this kind of alternation between the two processes happens all the time, and finally the parse is obtained. Now it is instructive for you to see in how many different ways the parsing can fail. Okay, if you have an ungrammatical sentence, that means suppose you had laugh people loudly, then the parsing will not complete. Okay, if the whole input is over, but the start symbol S has not been reached, then also it is a wrong parse. Then we went to a very important parsing algorithm called the CYK parsing, Cox-Younger-Kashimi algorithm. So there we took a grammar which has a lot of fan out. So noun phrase can be expanded as determiner of noun or a plural noun or a noun phrase followed by preposition phrase. Preposition phrase is preposition and noun phrase. And verb phrase can be expanded as verb phrase and preposition phrase, or a past tense verb and noun phrase. So this inherently indicates ambiguity. Okay, sentences which can be parsed in two different ways. So noun phrase can be expanded in three different ways. Verb phrase can be expanded in two different ways. And these numbers which are indicated by the side of every rule are the probability values. We are going to take up probabilistic parsing today. So the way CYK works is very elegant. The rows indicate the positions starting from 0, and the columns indicate the position starting from 1. So the I and J cell, ith row, jth column, indicates a grammatical category that has been found between the position I and position J. So between 0 and 1 we find DT, determiner. So the is indeed a determiner. Then we find a noun between 1 and 2, gunman. Then we have to complete the column above NN. So that essentially expands the phrase by one token to the left. So we found a noun phrase between 0 and 2, the gunman, which is fine. Then we find a VBD, past tense verb, between 2 and 3, position number 2 and 3. We have to complete the column above VBD, absorbing one token at a time from the left. So we do not find any way of expanding this phrase because no phrase ends with a VBD. So we proceed taking more input. Okay, we do left to right scanning. We absorb more input. So the between 3 and 4 has been found. We find a noun between 4 and 5, which is building. Obviously, we find a noun phrase between 3 and 5, the building, and we are able to find more things, more phrases. So 2 to 5, sprayed the building. We have been able to find this from verb phrase, VBD and NP. VBD is sprayed, NP is the building. So after that, we don't find a longer phrase, but proceeding further, absorbing, going up to 0, going back up to 0, and also absorbing we find a sentence S between 0 and 5. The gunman sprayed the building is a valid sentence. But the parsing will not stop there. It will only show, it is only showing that there is a sentence contained within a bigger sentence. So this is a property of the language which is called recursivity. Now we have found a preposition between 5 and 6. Then we find a plural noun and therefore a noun phrase between 6 and 7, bullets. So a noun phrase can go to a plural noun. After that, since the input is over, we begin to form bigger and bigger phrases. So a preposition has been found between 5 and 7, bullets. 4 and 7, there is no phrase 4 to 7, that is building with bullets. But we find a verb phrase, the building with bullets, from 2 to 7. So sprayed the building with bullets. This is fine. And then we find nothing from 1 to 7, but we find sentence from 0 to 7. So the parse is over, the sentence is grammatical, and we can recover the parse tree from the sentence. So how does the parse tree look? S goes to NP, VP, fine. NP, noun phrase, goes to determiner and noun, the gunman. VP goes to VBD and NP, sprayed the building with bullets. Okay, the noun phrase is the building with bullets. So this NP from 3 to 5 is the building, DT and NN. Then there is a PP from 5 to 7, which is a preposition with bullets. Okay, so this is the way this has been found, but it is not a viable parse tree. It is not a viable parse tree because the meaning is the gunman sprayed the building which had bullets in it. Okay, All right, so this meaning is okay, sprayed with what, one might ask, sprayed with paint or what? Maybe. So the gunman sprayed the building with bullets. That means the gunman colored the building which had bullets in it. So that's an improbable, parse tree, though it has some sense in it, but improbable. The correct parse tree will be the one where with bullets, this preposition phrase is coming under the verb phrase, okay, under the verb phrase. So that will be coming under the verb phrase, then it will mean that the gunman sprayed the building with bullets. It is a metaphorical use. It is the gunman fired so many bullets that it covered the wall of the building with bullets. So as if the building was painted with bullets, okay, sprayed with bullets. So that is the kind of meaning that emerges, and it also has a kind of pragmatics associated with it. That is another layer of meaning which shows the intensity of firing by the gunman. Otherwise, the word sprayed will not be used. We would use the gunman fired bullets into the building or fired the building with bullets. So this parse tree is an odd parse tree. A more viable parse tree will have the preposition phrase in the same level as VBD and NP. So what I mean to say by this is that this sentence has ambiguity. Just like the sentence, I saw the boy with a telescope, has ambiguity. Who has the telescope? Here also, who has the bullets? The gunman has the bullets or the building has the bullets? That is the ambiguity. So two parse trees can come out, and if you look at the table, if you look at the table, you can see that the verb phrase can be formed in two different ways. Okay, there are two VPs here, and it can be formed in two different ways. So, so the sentence is ambiguous. So, a home exercise for you will be to study the table that CYK algorithm produces and see if you can uncover the ambiguity. That means the multiple parse trees from this table. Okay, one of the important features of any parsing algorithm is whether it produces a structure that contains all the parse trees or not. Okay, in the chart parsing, which is another home exercise for you, instructive home exercise. In the top-down chart parsing, can you get multiple parse trees for a sentence which has structural ambiguity? So Satyam, please write down two home exercises. One is in the CYK parse table, can you recover all the possible parse trees if the sentence has parsing ambiguity? In the CYK parse table, recover all the parse trees? If so, how? And the second home exercise is in the top-down, bottom-up combined chart parsing, top-down, bottom-up combined parsing. Can you get all the parse trees which are possible for an ambiguous sentence? Okay, for a ambiguous sentence which has structural ambiguity. So can you get all the parse trees in top-down, bottom-up chart parsing for a sentence which has structural ambiguity? These two home exercises may please be kept in the Thursday channel. So
So,
now, yeah, please.
a small doubt in that slide. Uh, in CYK1. So, how did you exactly write 2 to 7 as VP?
2 to 7 as VP because VP can be obtained by VBD NP. Okay, so VBD is coming from sprayed, and the building with bullets is an NP because NP can be formed with NP followed by PP. So the building is an NP and with bullets is a PP. So NP and PP combine to give NP. VBD and NP give me the whole VP. Okay.
Okay, sir. Yes, sir. Got it.
Yeah. But it has two parses because VP has two expansions. Okay, that is what you should see. Okay, now we come to probabilistic parsing. So we have remarked right in the beginning that you cannot you cannot take out ambiguity from language. Okay, if you leave the setting very natural, if you do not artificially control anything, then language based communication and even image based communication has to deal with the question of ambiguity. So there is a speaker or a communicator, and there is a person who is receiving communication. So there is a two-way channel, the speaker and the listener, the writer and the reader, okay, the producer and the consumer. So this two-way channel is established for any kind of communication situation, and communication necessarily has ambiguity. It also introduces noise as the communication passes over the channel. So noise is channel metaphor, which was borrowed from speech, has been used in natural language. So we have already have seen that pause tagging has ambiguity. A word can have multiple parts of speech. In parsing also we have ambiguity. We saw the example of I saw the boy with a telescope, which has two parses. So in probabilistic parsing, we are dealing with the question of ranking. Okay, any kind of probabilistic NLP is ultimately answering the question of ranking. So in probabilistic parsing, we would like to give a rank to multiple parses that come. So I saw the boy with the telescope, it has two parses. Can you give two scores to these two parses? In part of speech tagging, you have again seen that this ranking comes into play. You do an argmax computation, which is essentially searching and ranking, and pick up the one with the highest probability. So what is the role of probability in parsing? Probability deals with uncertainty. And since language is ambiguity, there is inherent uncertainty in communication. So in probabilistic parsing, we are entering machine learning based parsing which makes use of machine learning algorithm and makes use of training data and training a machine learning model. So here there is a sentence, come July and the IIT campus is abuzz with new and returning students. Sadly, it did not happen this time because of Corona, but every July there are new students entering the campus and students who come back from their internship from home and so on. So that is the situation which is expressed by this sentence, come July, comma, and the IIT campus is abuzz means full of activity, with new and returning students. We'll spend some time on looking at the entity that is in front of us. We have seen that there are words. Come is a word, and July is also a word. Comma is a token. So all these are tokens, which are punctuation marks and words. And is conjunction indicated by CC. Now let's look at the main sentence. Main sentence is the IIT campus is abuzz with new and returning students. We see many brackets here. So this sentence is bracketed with structural information, and this is called a bracketed structure. So in 1990s, there was a big exercise in University of Pennsylvania to create this kind of bracketed structure manually. This was a large effort, took many years, a lot of investment, and a lot of what are called annotators, experts who sat with sentences and gave this kind of structure. So the IIT campus, you can see this is a chunk. So campus is noun. So the IIT campus, this is a phrase, and the head of the phrase is campus. This is the main entity. The modifiers are the and IIT. Which campus? The IIT campus. So both the and IIT are qualifying campus. So look at all the entities which are seen on the screen. Campus is a noun, and IIT is a noun but functioning as an adjective. So JJ. The is a determiner. So the IIT campus, all these entities together form a noun phrase. So you can see three bracketed structures within a larger bracket, namely noun phrase. And then I see that there is an S. That means this is the start of a sentence, and there is a bracket there. This open bracket is not closed yet. There is one bracketed structure, the IIT campus. Then another structure is coming, verb phrase. Okay, is Abbas with new and returning students. So this verb phrase also has a lot of structure in it. This verb phrase is composed of is, which is a verb auxiliary, adjective phrase, Abbas with new and returning students. Okay, so this whole thing is an adjective phrase, Abbas with new and returning students. So let's see the substructures within this. Students is the head of a phrase, most important entity. Student is modified by new and returning. So new and returning is a larger phrase. Returning is a gerundial verb and is a conjunction, and new itself is an adjective. So new and returning, when put together, it forms an adjective phrase. You see open adjective phrase, close adjective phrase. So this finishes an adjective phrase. Now adjective phrase followed by a plural noun, N and S, together is forming a noun phrase. So what is the grammatical rule that is operating here? The grammatical rule is a noun phrase is composed of adjective phrase and noun. Okay, adjective phrase and noun. And in this case, the noun happens to be a plural noun. Now, with and a noun phrase, that is preposition with and noun phrase, forms a preposition phrase. So in is indicative of a preposition. This you would have done in the part of speech tagging. So in plus noun phrase, preposition plus noun phrase forms a preposition phrase. So this finishes the preposition phrase. One more bracket is over. One bracket is over. Now verb phrase with adjective phrase. Adjective phrase consists of a preposition phrase, is composed of auxiliary verb and adjective phrase. Okay, so this way you can see that a very complex structure is created from small simpler structures. So this is a property of the language. In language, we build a bigger structure from smaller structures. Okay, so you can go on adding phrases and words to form a long sentence. I know the boy who lives in Delhi, which is the capital of India, which is a big country, which is situated in Asia, which is the largest continent in the world. You can go on adding text, maintaining grammaticality, but increasing the length of the sentence, increasing the meaning component also. So this is known as the bracketed structure and forms the fodder for machine learning. The machine learning algorithm consumes this and learns a parser. Okay. Now, have you encountered a parser generator before? I'm sure you have encountered a parser generator, Bison, for example, or Yak, who generate a parser for the rules that you specified. Okay, so here also the rules are implicitly given in the training data, and a machine learning algorithm generates the probabilistic parser. So why is it called probabilistic parser? Because the output that comes from the parser is always given a score with probability. Okay, that is because each sentence can have multiple parses. Potentially every sentence can have multiple parses because of the ambiguity. So this is known as the bracketed structure. So again, because we have to deal with uncertainty, ambiguity, we appeal to noisy channel model and do an argmax based computation. So the computation follows the same path as part of speech tagging, only there is an important difference here. So from the best possible parse tree is the parse tree with the highest probability given the sentence PT given S, argmax over T. So in this noisy channel, the input is a source sentence and output is a target parse. So I apply Bayes' theorem and I get the prior probability PT into PS given T, the likelihood probability. And S is nothing but the sentence given the tree. Now we know that the sentence given the tree is unique. If the tree is given, the sentence is unique. Opposite is not true. Given the sentence, the tree need not be unique. But if the tree is given from the leaf, I can reconstruct the sentence. So P as given T has probability 1. Okay, so therefore the best possible parse tree is the one which has the highest probability. So you've come to an important realization that in probabilistic parsing, I will pick up that tree as my output for the parsing algorithm, that tree which has the highest probability. Very simple statement and very intuitive, very obvious also. Obviously, since I'm doing probabilistic parsing, it is parsing and probability. So I'll have to take the that parse tree which has the highest probability. Now, an interesting question, Satyam, please write down this home exercise again. Interesting question is, why is it that in part of speech tagging, we did not take up directly the part of speech tag sequence that has the highest probability? Okay, just state transition probability, no emission probability. Why didn't we do that? Here you see the emission probability is reduced to nothing because of this very interesting observation that given the tree, the sentence is unique. But in part of speech tagging, given the part of speech, the word is not unique. So given the part of speech is noun, the word need not be only building or sky or grass. There are 40,000, 50,000, 60,000 nouns in English language. So a noun can always fan out into many words. And even if it is a specific noun, a special noun, NNP, for example, proper noun, it can fan out into so many proper nouns, Ram, Sham, Hari, and so on. So the emission probability cannot be eliminated in parsing, but in part of speech tagging, but in parsing, it reduces to a single entity, single possibility, which is 1. So the T star, the best possible parse tree, is the one with the highest probability. So, so I get an expression PT given argmax over T. So now my algorithm is this. I have to search for the tree which has the highest probability. Now, if I take a brute force method, okay, I will take a sentence and run CYK algorithm or chart parsing algorithm, generate all possible parse trees, compute their probability, and give the parse tree as output whose probability is the highest. Okay, just like in part of speech tagging, I generate all the part of speech tags, compute their probability, and then output the one which has the highest probability. So here also I could have done the same thing, except that it is little more simple with the fact that the likelihood probability is 1. Now, likelihood probability has become 1, but the structure which we have to deal with is little more complex. It is not a linear sequence of tokens. It is a tree. Okay, it is a 2-dimensional structure with nodes and arcs. Okay, so it's a more complex structure than a linear sequence. So computing the probability of a tree is non-trivial, not as simple as part of speech tagging. Okay,